My name is Robert Brown. I have been a stylist since I was 17. I feel like a very well-rounded hairdresser. So in my salon, I do pretty much everything from bridal to extensions to color to correction to cutting to men's. Pretty much full-scale real hairdresser. And then as an artist with Goldwell, I get to share classes where I get to share all those things. Cutting, collections, photography, formulation, troubleshooting, everything. So pretty fulfilling. The way I started out, back in those days, it was the crossover between when salons were still like coiffure, like where you would think like your grandmother would go, like maybe the weekly set clients, and malls were just kind of coming into that walk-in vibe, and there were boutique salons that were like probably too expensive, but I didn't know anybody who went to those. Trying to be niche or trying to find a specialty or working for someone that had that and being an assistant, you definitely had to kind of pay your dues back then. There wasn't a lot of this like jumping right in and being a star. You usually had to be under the wing of someone, and I got very lucky that way. The salon that I worked at was called Kinky's for hair, and it was a husband and wife, and the husband did not like to cut hair at all. He only did chemicals. And the girls all cut, and his idea, he had all these female employees, and they were supposed to sell chemical services that he would do, and they would get a cut, and they just did the styling and finishing. And so when I got there, I was at a beauty school, and I loved chemicals. I wanted to do perms and mixing, and I wanted to get into all the brewing and everything. And he said, well, then it'll just be us guys. So I became like a second him to do perming and all the after things. So that's kind of how it started. But there were some specialty cutters. I mean, the lady who owned the salon, she was a big deal back then because she'd also been to barber school and she knew how to use clippers. And back in the day, most stylists didn't know how to use the men's tools. I think probably my best business skill is helping clients afford what they need, not discounting and not giving things away, but trying to find the smartest plan that they can actually keep up so that their hair's never in a deficit or it's never looking bad. It's like you don't want to sell something high maintenance to someone who clearly can't keep it up. That's not good representation. So I think early on, you try to find people you can team with, that you can powwow with. It's like, let me help you help yourself. And I think once you start earning that trust, especially when you're working with younger people, you forget that they're going to come into their money. They might be a student now, and they might be very budgeted, but soon they'll be working, and soon, it kind of, it's the circle of life kind of thing, right? Something that I wish I had known then that I know now, probably to trust your first instincts on everything, from formulating to how to deal with people. Usually your gut reaction, your trigger, your spidey sense, or whatever you want to call that, when it tingles, you should trust it. And it takes you years to learn to trust it. But if you could learn that early, that's a gift that will carry you very far in any career. For me, a pivotal point in my career that changed for me was when I started doing education, when I realized that I had a gift to communicate with other stylists on a level that some people can't do. A lot of people can do fantastic hair, but they can't tell you how they do it. And so that's another aspect of training to actually, they always say to teach is to learn over again. And I think that's a real strong, pivotal moment when you finally learn that about yourself and you're like, trust, it's like, that sounds corny, but it's like, wow, they like me. Like, they want more. So like, oh, and then you learn that you really have that connection. I think you can't give that away. It's not a gift. I think most stylists have that because we don't really know strangers. We talk to people all day from all walks of life, and we let those boundaries down very quickly. And so I think being able to steer that better, I think those are all like little gifts that you have that you may not know you have yet. For me, the most rewarding aspects of this career, aside from doing gorgeous hair that you end up seeing like at a wedding, or you see now with social media, we see our clients in their daily lives. And when you see, when I see one of my girls with a pack of her girlfriends and mine's the star, I feel like, like that titillates me. That's amazing. But I think, especially with training, I gave you a tool that you took with you through life. So that's the best thing about training to me, is watching it pay off for people. Success for me, at my age now, my experience level, my career, my salon, is getting to do the kind of hair that you want to do. There's a lot of busy stylists, but a lot of them aren't doing the kind of hair that they want to do, or the hair that turns them on. It turns me on to do all kinds of things, so that I've made that happen. I make sure that I have men and I have everything, that my bucket's full. But I think there's a lot of people that get roped into, maybe they were good at one thing and it became niche for them, and now they can't get out of it. So they're successful as far as income and busyness and all that, but if you're not happy, then the success doesn't really bloom to what it's really supposed to be. So I think doing what you love and having it on your terms and getting paid for it, that's success.